In the age of artificial intelligence, and can be hard to tell what's real, accurate, and what's slowly beginning to shape so many of our lives. Today, we're exploring the critical flaws in AI systems and how those flaws threaten democracy and basic rights. That's the focus of the documentary called Coded Bias. The film follows Dr. Joy Buolamwini, who uncovered AI bias while at MIT, then founded the Algorithmic Justice League to combat AI-related harm. Coded Bias follows her research into gender and skin tone bias and how she's informing governments and tech companies about these issues. 2025 marks 5 years since the film premiered. Screenings have been held around the globe this year to mark the anniversary, and the final screening is coming up in our area. I'm joined now by Dr. Joy Buolamwini. Thank you so much for joining us and taking the time to speak with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Let's talk about how all of this began. Tell us about your discovery that you made at MIT and this important role of a white mask.
Yeah, so when I was a graduate student at the MIT Media Lab, I was working on an art project that used face detection software. And as I was experimenting with this art project, my project didn't actually work until I put on a white mask over my dark skinned face to have my face detected. And so that was really the starting point of unmasking AI and asking, why am I putting on this white mask to have my human face detected? Is it just me, or is there something more? And so it was that experience as a student at the MIT Media Lab working on an art installation that started this research into how do machines see? If we're using artificial intelligence to train machines to detect the patterns of a face and it's failing, what other types of patterns might be failing society when we use AI?
See, you just stumbled on this and it just opened Pandora's box when you found this out, right? So talk about this creation of the Algorithmic Justice League and what the group's mission is.
Yeah, so after that experience of, coding in whiteface, as it were, at this epicenter of innovation, I realized that it was really important that there were groups of people coming together, whether they're artists, academics, advocates, everyday people, to say, we want the benefits of AI, but we also don't have to accept the harms. And so that's why I started the Algorithmic Justice League, to make sure AI actually works well for all of us, to prevent harmful uses of AI, and to hold tech companies accountable. I really believe we can get AI right. And to get it right, we have to know what the limitations are.
Yeah.
We have to document where the harms are, and then we can work on mitigation.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the Algorithmic Justice League's research about facial recognition at TSA checkpoints. What have you found there? What do you want travelers to know about that?
Yeah, so we just released a 2-year study where we had over 400 travelers share their experiences across 91 airports of encountering facial recognition at TSA checkpoints. And the number one thing we found was most travelers don't know it is optional. You can opt out. This is supposed to be a voluntary pilot. Our findings found that 99% of people weren't even told they could opt out. So this is the number one thing I want travelers to know, regardless of your citizenship status. At TSA checkpoints, right before, you have to get your shoes off in some cases and take out your laptops, those checkpoints, everybody has the right to opt out. Now, you want to opt out before you hand over any identification, because we found that sometimes people are told if you hand over your ID, then you automatically consent. That's not informed consent, but just to keep it as straightforward as possible, don't hand over your ID, say you want to opt out, and you should be able to do so. Now, I say should because our findings found that in some cases, TSA the officers didn't follow the stated policies. As we're getting more word out, as people are understanding their right to opt out, we are hopeful to see more compliance and less resistance from the TSA officers to do what the traveling public has the right to do.
I did not know that. That is news to me. So I'm glad that we're talking about this. And we're talking about the harms that bias in AI can have. It can really go deep. Talk about some of the harms that we can experience and some of the safeguards that need to be established by people in power?
Absolutely. So the harms of AI really impact everybody. So I call us the X-coded if you've been harmed, condemned, convicted, exploited by AI systems. And so some examples of everyday harms we're now seeing are through generative AI systems that can replicate a voice, replicate faces. So we're seeing an increase of fraud in that case. Another type of example of AI harms that we see can come with discrimination. So when AI is used to filter women's resumes are sometimes systematically filtered out. We can see also different types of discrimination when AI is used in a classroom setting where students with English as a second language are flagged as cheating and using AI systems, even if that's not necessarily the case. We even see this with AI in healthcare, where people who actually need treatment are said that they're not as sick as they actually are. And going beyond even the more digital space and thinking about the physical space, when we look at pulse oximeters that measure oxygen in blood, they have found that people with darker skin would not necessarily get accurate readings. This mattered so much with something like COVID, where they were using those readings to determine who would get help or not. And so when we say this can be life-threatening, we truly mean that. And we're also now seeing the rise of AI chatbots, AI companions, and sadly, numbers of children, minors, and even adults in some cases who have taken their lives after being encouraged to do so by chatbots. And so the harms we're talking about are real, they're present, and they can be extremely severe.
Yeah, wow. It's important to bring all of that up so things can change and get better. I know you're wrapping up a world tour right now for Coded Bias. Really quickly, what have you learned from people who've met you around the world about your research?
I've just been surprised at how far this has traveled. I literally just came back from Rio, where we were showing the film, and they are also grappling with facial recognition in society. I was actually invited to a football game or soccer game, and the only way to enter was to submit to facial recognition. So I ended up not going. But it's interesting also when we've been in places like Kigali and Nairobi to see other viewpoints of what AI can be and how AI can be embedded in society. So for example, when I was in Nairobi, I was learning from local experts there about different types of licensing for language models so that the people who speak a language can receive a benefit that you wouldn't necessarily get if you just open sourced in a free way, like many other types of licenses. So I've been pleasantly surprised to see how resonant coded bias still is 5 years on. It's as if the conversation is just beginning.
Dr. Joy, we appreciate you. By the way, for the folks who are watching, you can attend the last screening of Coded Bias tomorrow, December 15th. It's happening at the MIT Welcome Center. There will be a Q&A with Dr. Joy. Dr. Joy, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you for having me.